In question 7, we've already been laid out, the partial fractions form's already been laid out for us. The repeated denominator of 3x minus 1 squared means that we get one denominator which is 3x minus 1 and another one which is 3x minus 1 squared. Okay, but it's nice and straightforward because it's been laid out for us. We don't even need to remember that fact ourselves. Okay, so as ever, multiply through by this whole of this denominator first, leaving us with just 1 on the left hand side. Then on the right hand side, the x is going to cancel here, but we're going to be multiplying by 3x minus 1 squared. Here we're going, one of these 3x minus 1 is going to cancel with that, but the other one is going to actually get multiplied by it, and also the x there as well. So we're going to have x and a 3x minus 1. With the c, the 3x minus 1 squared will completely cancel, leaving just the x. Okay, then we're ready to choose some values. So a nice easy value would be x equals 0. Now if x equals 0, we've got 0 minus 1 here, so that's minus 1 squared, which is just 1, so that's just a. That would be 0, that would be 0, so we straight away get 1 equals a. Now to make the 3x minus 1 bracket 0, we're going to choose x equals 1/3. Sub that in, that will become 0, that will become 0, this will become 1/3 c. Multiply 3 by 3 to make c the subject, and we get c equals 3. Okay, now at this stage we don't yet know b, and if we substitute 0 in, it cancels that term. If we substitute 1/3 in, it cancels that term, so we keep cancelling this term. But it doesn't matter now because we know that a is 1, we know that c is 3, so if we put those in, so 1 equals a, which is now 1, 3x minus 1 squared, plus b x 3x minus 1, plus c, which we now know is 3x. Okay, so we've put our a and our c in there. We now, b is the only unknown coefficient, and x, remember, can be anything we like, so we're going to choose a different value for x that we haven't already chosen. So let's choose a simple one like 1. So if x equals 1, we get 1 equals, so that's going to be 3 times 1, which is 3, minus 1, which is 2. That's going to be 1. This is going to be 3 times 1 minus 1, which is 2, so 2b then. And 3 times 1 is just 3. Okay, so make 2b the subject then. So that's a 4 and a 3, so that's 7. Take it across to the other side and you end up with minus 6. Divide 2 by 2 and we're going to get minus 3. Okay, so we're pretty much there then. Right, go back to the start and say, well, therefore f of x now equals, let me see that there on the screen, f of x now equals a, which is 1, so 1 over x, plus b, which is actually minus 3, so minus 3 over 3x minus 1, plus c, which was 3 here, so plus 3 over 3x minus 1 all squared. So in part B, we're going to integrate what we've just done in part A. Integrating f of x, where f of x is our expanded partial fractions form here that we ended up with in part A. So this is what we're going to integrate. Now, they're all reciprocal functions, but this one here is not to the power of 1 anymore, it's to the power of 2. So what we've got to remember is that is not a Lin function when we integrate it. To integrate something 3 over something squared, we first of all represent it as a negative power. Okay, so that one needs to be rewritten as 3 bracket 3x minus 1 to the power of negative 2 to stop us falling into the trap of thinking it's going to be Lin just because it's a sort of reciprocal function. Okay, so it's only Lin if the denominator is itself to the power of 1. The denominator itself is linear. If the denominator is quadratic or cubic, in this case it's quadratic, then we change it to a negative power format before integrating. Okay, so now we're ready to integrate. These two ones are going to involve Lin. So 1 over x, well, that's the simplest version of that. So ln x. That 3 there is just a constant 3, so jot that down straight away. Then we're dealing with a denominator of 3x minus 1, so ln of 3x minus 1. But that 3, because it's the coefficient of x, we need to divide by that 3, so bolt on a multiplication by a third there. Okay, last term then. Here we're just going to use the normal integration with the inverse chain rule involved. So add 1 to the power and divide by a new power. So add 1 to the power, you get minus 1. Divide by minus 1, well, that basically just changes everything to minus. Okay, but we can write it as 1 over minus 1 at this stage if we want to. Okay, so that's added 1 to the power divided by a new power. And then the inside function is linear, 3x minus 1, so we divide by that 3, applying the inverse chain rule there. Okay, squeeze on a plus c. Tidy all of that up. 3 times a third is going to cancel. 3 times a third is going to cancel. That's going to make it a negative overall. That means 1 over. So we get there. Okay. Now we could merge these two ln functions together. So we've got ln x minus ln of 3x minus 1. So that could be combined to give ln of x over 3x minus 1. And then finish there. Okay, in B part 2, we're then asked to now get the definite integral of f of x between 1 and 2. Well, we've already worked out the integral itself, which was ln of x over 3x minus 1 minus 1 over 3x minus 1. Or if you stopped slightly earlier, you'd have got ln x minus ln of 3x minus 1 minus 1 over 3x minus 1. Okay, so whichever form of whichever of those two you sort of stopped at, make that then your integral with the limits of 1 and 2. And so we can ready to effectively sub those limits in. Okay, so I'm going to use this version. Subbing in, then we get ln of 2 over, so 3 times 2 is 6, minus 1 is 5, so 2/5. Again, 3 times 2 minus 1 is 5. Sub the 1 in, you get 1 over 3 times 1 minus 1 is 2, so half. And here, similarly, you're going to get a 2 in the denominator there, so minus a half. Okay, expand and tidy that up. So ln of 2/5 minus 1/5 minus ln of a half plus a half. Now a half minus 1/5. You can do that on your calculator. So 1 divided by 2 divided by minus 1 divided by 5, 3/10. Ln 2/5 minus ln of a half. Well, that again can be merged using the rules of logs. So ln of 2/5 divided by a half. Okay, and you're dividing fractions, flip and multiply, and you get 4 over 5. So 3/10 plus ln 4/5.